Good morning, everyone. As you can see here, I need to shave a little bit and everything like that. I'll probably shave tonight. I'm on my break at work, so I want to make a video. I want to talk about the culturization of victimization, or basically the culture of victimization. It's a very important topic to me because I feel like it is the number one foundation for why, especially the black community, has crumbled. Why the foundation for who we are as a people have totally broken down. And so I'm not the best speaker in the world. You know what I mean? It's one of the reasons why I never really like to do videos. It's my thing is that I'm more in the writing than I am to making videos, but I do feel I have something, to say, and hopefully other people can resonate with other people. For me, it's this. Spin Fire, who's a awesome, who has an awesome channel, talks about cultural responsibility all the time, and I agree with her. The most important thing that I see is that this didn't just happen. This didn't just happen. It didn't just happen today. A lot of times people see things that happen and they feel that, oh man, look what happened. It's not something that happened right away. I was thinking to myself on this topic how there's this book called Fly Girl by Omar Terry, and it's anybody who's in their 40s and even in their 30s probably know this book. It's a classic book. It's very influential on urban fiction. So you know where I'm going with this. The heroine in the movie, in the book, her name was Tracy. Tracy, it shows her coming of age as a young woman. And by the time she became 13, she became developed to the point that, guys, didn't matter how young she was, 13 years old, according to the book. And she had all, the ballers, or better yet, the drug dealers that were living around her neighborhood coming after her. Didn't matter how young she was. And she was messing with them. Because that was the culture. That's what it was, Didn't matter. And so my point that I'm making is this didn't just happen right away. We're a community where we're being taught, especially young girls are being taught, to go after the bag by any means necessary. So, and the book that I'm talking about, this was set in like the 70s and 80s and everything. So you're talking about a culture that basically grew up with that mindset. So it should be no surprise that it has evolved into a culture where it's grown to even more, where victimization is a come up. You can accuse anyone of anything. People will, because they don't want it. They don't want. There was a time when victims weren't believed. Now you don't want to feel like that if you don't believe the victim, that you're victim shaming, or you're not being politically correct. Of course, citizens will become that. So they don't want to seem like that they are shaming victims. So because of that, you have a culture where victimization is a come up. And that's where, it's not just R. Kelly, it's not just celebrities, but just anyone that have a status of influence, if you have any influence, you are open to potentially getting 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 hurt because of what our society has become. So the whole thing of the matter is that we have to, number one, open our eyes to what the values of our community has become. We have become a society where if it, if you can get the bag, you do it. You know, the love of money is the root of all evil. Money's become our god, and we're finding ways to try to get it. Hard work isn't valued anymore. If you're working hard to get your money, it's looked down upon. It's frowned upon now. You know, and as far as victimization goes, I'm a sexual assault victim. I was sexually abused at 9 and 11, and there's no amount of money that can absolve or atone for it. I'll never, ever. There's no amount of money that will atone for what happened for me. No amount of money. Neither does holding it against someone, holding it against the one who abused me, is going to atone for me either. You know. But I'm not judging anybody who's been a sexual victim and still hurting, still paralyzed by what has happened. It's a hard thing. And that's why it's hard. That's why it's a tough thing when it comes to the whole culture of victimization, because there are so many victims. There's so many, especially in the black community, who have been through abuse, who has been sexually abused. It's a silent thing, and because we've lived in a culture where those who were abused weren't believed, you have a culture of silence. But then, on the extreme, now you have people who are using that for their own come up, for their own benefits. People getting book deals, award shows, being lauded for being quote unquote survivors for their own benefit. They go on Facebook, they go on Instagram and other venues of social media to promote this kind of culture. They allow themselves to get other brands and stuff, thinking that their celebrity as quote unquote victims will give them even more avenues for come ups. And that sickens me. That literally sickens me. Because you have a society that's being told that it's okay to accuse people and get a come up off of that. It's unfair. It's unfair to real victims who've been hurt. And it absolves people of responsibility for their own actions, for their own choices in life. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I am upset with people like Jerron Pace, for example, and Faith and Faith Rogers, and Lisa Van Allen, who use their bodies and whatever for come up. It's unbelievable. Then I have to realize they're just a symptom of the problem, and for that I have to be sympathetic. In that sense, because our culture, our environment, have made that an influence on their thinking, and not just on their thinking, but most of our thinking. We need to start teaching our young that hard work is good. That you don't have to do things for a come up that are illegal or immoral or will hurt other people just so you can get the bag. It's not right. And I mean, like I said, I'm not the best speaker, but and whatever. But it just saddens me that our culture has devolved to that. We need a greater awareness of what to do and how to go about doing it. But talking is not just enough. We need to start doing. We need to be people where we're not being hypocritical. I know I've been hypocritical. I know I've done things that I regret myself. No one's perfect. And that's one of the things that struck me about the R. Kelly interview with Gayle King. She asked him, how can all those females be lying and everything? And he said, they never said anything good about me. They didn't say one thing good about me. And it struck me because, as Block Bender said in a video, it struck me because what he was saying is, I'm not perfect, but I'm not a monster either. They use that narrative in order for their own benefit, and that's how it is when it comes to us, where we're not perfect, but we're not perfect. However, we all have redeemable qualities through our Maker. We all have the opportunity to be better. And so, we got to get it together. Got to get it together. And when R. Kelly is acquitted, is that going to pull down our passion? Is that going to keep us from being passionate against injustice, or passionate against all the things that our culture has made, that our culture has messed up for us? What are we going to do? What's going to happen when he's acquitted? Are we going to go back to our regular scheduled lives and live the way that we've been living? Or are we going to fully take responsibility for our own issues, our own actions, our own faults, and try to change? That's all I have to say. Have a great day, and have a great week.